Howdy there, folks. I'm Gene of RPG, and welcome to the final part of Final Fantasy, the Pixel Remaster version. As you can probably guess, based on the enemies that we're seeing here, we're going to be going after the Kraken on this floor, and, well, there's no reason to worry. We can take him. We can take him. Because I took the time to look during the water shrine, I know now that the water elementals are weak to ice, which makes sense. It makes sense. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's the Pokemon fan in me. I assume I see water. First thought, electric. Second thought, grass. There's nothing there. And yeah, Sahagin princes, a lot of them actually, and a white shark. They're weak to lightning and not ice, but I'm lazy. I'm lazy. I'm not gonna switch what Ted does, because then I gotta input everybody else's commands, and I just don't have time for that. Plus, see, we killed them anyway. It's all good. There's nothing over there. Alright, but let's continue. Man, really shows how few, like, how unvaried the enemies in the water shrine were. What do I mean? Well, we're fighting all the same things. By that, I mean the same 4 enemies. I am not seeing any treasure. I'm not seeing any treasure, so let's continue on. Go back through this way. Come through here. And I know the orb is to the right. And there's nothing to the left. Wow, this floor sucks. I mean, talk about boring, right? No good treasures or anything. But anyway, let's take on the Kraken once again. Oh, I still got a little cake. Alright, so because I want to keep things moving, we're going to go ahead with the same exact strategy that that we have been implementing. Except instead of Protera, actually, I'm going to go ahead and use Holy, get a jump on the damage. I would not have expected a giant octopus, or squid, rather, to use Thundara. Also, why did it not use Thundaga? Why does it have Thundara? We're at the end of the game. They should be tougher than this, damn it. Well, either way. Since we've buffed up, let's go ahead and flare, holy, attack, attack. You guys get it. And that's why you don't mess with Excalibur. It's fantastic. Man, evidently the fiends don't get paid very well. Alright, but that just leaves the final, well, that's a lie. I was going to say the final floor, but it's not the final floor. Which, now we're back to enemies that we were already dealing with, which don't really care for that. I feel like I feel like they should be something tougher, something more grand. Not vampires and dragon zombies. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, You guys know how to deal with them. Now, Tiamat's right there, but I don't want to go that way. Stone Golems. I don't think we've actually ever seen these. They are tougher renditions of Golem enemies. You know what? I don't really want to screw around. Let's just blow them up. Golem enemies are resistant to most magic. Most elements, I should say. But their physical defense is normal. Seems a little backwards to me, but yeah, whatever. Alright, now let's... 4 purple worms! Which give an unbelievable amount of experience. 17,000 for a group of 4. That's crazy. Iron golems! Another golem enemy. Same shtick, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, maybe it's reversed. Their defense is obviously quite high. I can check, though. That said, Flare still obliterates them. But let's take a look, because I'm actually curious now. Where is it? Iron Golem. There's the Clay Golem. Where's the Iron Golem? Iron... No, that's an Ice Gigas. Iron Golem. Where are you, buddy? Hey, buddy. Where are you? No, really, where the hell are you? Did I just... Oh, it's right there. Yeah, high defense. And no weaknesses. Resistant to elemental damage. I'm not sure what spirit is. Actually, looking at that, I'm not sure what spirit is. Regardless, you guys saw. Flare will do it, so will Holy. Actually, Holy might not quite kill it. But, yeah. Interesting. But we want to go through this zigzaggy corridor because it leads us to the greatest treasure in this place. The Masamune. Masamune? Well, either way, this is the strongest weapon in the game. It's 56 attack power, 50 accuracy, and the nice thing is, anybody can equip it. We could put it on Ted here and have him attack. Our White Mage, we could have her use it and attack. I want to put it on Bobby, because Billy's already doing plenty of damage with Excalibur. This way, Bobby can actually do some damage with his physical attacks. Also, I think Billy is at max HP now at 999. In this version of the game, and a handful of the other versions, I believe HP gets capped at 999. But yes, the strongest sword in the game. Personally, I'm a much bigger fan of of the Excalibur myself, but the Masamune is definitely stronger. Mind Flayers! Okay, let's go ahead and restore spell slots. I've been spamming Holy and Flare left, right, and sideways. Oh, also, I think our White Wizard and our Black Wizard have actually maxed on the number of spell slots they can get. In this version of the game, you can only get 9 spell slots of each level of spell. So, hey, that's pretty cool, I guess. At the end of the day, it's really unimportant because we have ethers. But anyway, let's take care of a random battle. As I was saying, let's deal with Tiamat. Alright, so same song and dance. However, this time around, let's use Temper on Bobby. And, Holy. And I want to use Haste on Billy. I'm just experimenting, alright? Well, kind of. I mean, it's the same strategy as always. It's just... I'm just not buffing attack quite as much. Also, that I just noticed that physical attack actually did a pretty hefty amount of damage to Bobby. Which, I mean, to be fair, it's not like Bobby's a super beefy character. It's just... Ow. Let's go ahead and use Kiraja. And let's haste Bobby. Scourge! Again, instant death group spell. But we should be protected against instant death, so... Ah, lovely. Granted, I mean, I should realistically double buff their physical attack power, but, yeah, whatever. I want to use Protera because that physical attack actually did quite a bit of damage. And then, yeah, let's blow it up. With that, folks, we have slain all 4 of the fiends again. Pretty much just as easily, too. So now, all that is left is that one room. And stone golems. What the?
Do you remember me? I was once the most renowned knight of Cornelia. Years from now, you kill. I am girl.
Wait a minute. You said that we killed you 2,000 years from now, but you used killed in the past tense. It's confusing the hell out of me, man.
Oh, you did defeat me then. But the 4 great forces saved me by sending me back through time. Once here, I sent the 4 fiends into the future, where they shall once again use the 4 great forces to send me into the past. In 2,000 years, I will remember none of this.
Wait a minute. Who sent them in the first place to send you to the past if you're the one who sends them to send you into the past?
But I will be reborn again here. So even as you die again and again, I shall return. Born again into this endless cycle I have created.
What did you think he'd sound like? Also, he totally has a head for a crotch. But here we go, the final boss. We have Chaos, who's apparently Garland, and it's so much of the time loop thing just doesn't make freaking sense. Anyway, this is by far the toughest boss. As you saw, it just did 367 damage to Billy, our highest defense character. So, we're going to use our standard strategy. We're going to double attack buff Billy, as well as haste him. He's going to attack. We are also going to buff up Bobby. Our white mage needs to stay on top of healing, so I want her to go ahead and heal Billy. And we're going to use haste on Bobby. Yes, he does haste himself as well, which sucks. There we go. That's a good chunk of damage. Make no mistake, Chaos does actually hit pretty hard. I would argue this is probably the only legitimate boss in this game. Alright, Okay. Let's actually use the Giant's Gloves again. And I want to use Proterra again, since we don't need to heal. Now let's use Flare. Ow! Alright, we need to attack. Attack. Kiraja we have to use on Billy because Kiraga's not going to get the job done. Let's use Flare. Oh good, he's using Blizzara. Why not Blizzaga? No, really, it perplexes me. Well, anyway, we're going to go ahead and use Hilaga here because everybody took damage. And, yeah. Cyclone! That is a wind elemental it's wind in quotation marks. I'm pretty sure it's classified as non-elemental because there is no wind element in this game. That said, we are set up pretty darn nicely, so I think we're okay. Let's go ahead and use another Proterra here and use Flare. Tsunami! That is water. Once again, there is no water element in the game. Alright, but we've clocked in some pretty good damage. Let's go ahead and use Hilaga. Whoo! That's close. Holy crap. I thought for sure that he was going to down Billy. And that's important to actually mention. If a character gets downed, even after you've applied all your buffs, and you resurrect them, their buffs are still gone. You have to rebuff them. And that's kind of a death sentence at this point, and that's going to down Billy. That sucks. That's kind of a death sentence at this point, because we have to... It takes multiple characters to fully buff a character quickly. Granted, we can get Billy buffed in one turn, but still, we'd have to dedicate that whole turn. Full life is also great for this fight. This is the only fight that I have ever had to use full life in this game. Let's go ahead and actually do that and get Billy buffed back up. Well, actually, we're not going to full buff him because I want Bobby to keep attacking. Let's use Kiraja, actually, on Bobby. I want Bobby to keep attacking because he's... because he's already fully buffed. Well, he's already got his buffs going, and so he can finish the boss off. The time loop was severed at last. The endless struggle that raged over 2,000 years had ended, and peace prevailed once more. The light of the 4 crystals restored the forces of wind, water, earth, and fire. It was a mere trick of fate that had given rise to the chain of Garland's wrath. But magnified by the 4 forces meant to guide our world, that trick of fate also gave birth to the Fiends. Monsters had run rampant as the world sank into darkness. But all that is now past. With the 4 forces flowing as they were meant, the warriors prepared to cross time and return to the world they knew, a world where Princess Sarah, Queen Jane, and even Garland himself await. When was this fateful day that sent time spiraling into a loop? None can say. It seemed the cycle into which time had fallen would last forever, but the bravery of 4 young travelers changed that. They took the forces that filled the world with darkness and used them to bathe the world in light. None will ever recall the struggle the 4 endured, for the breaking of the chain means that it never existed. But within the tales of fantasy that people tell, the memory of their deeds lives on. Wait, what? Hang on. That doesn't make a lick of sense. Tales of dwarves and elves, of dragons and shining civilizations that reached for the heavens even as they fell. And now their return is upon us. With the memory of their struggle buried deep within their hearts, they will quietly watch over our world. Remember always that the forces of the world must be used as they were intended. That the power of light must never be used for dark. And that the true crystals reside in your heart. We have crystal hearts? For you are the warrior who crossed time. You are the bringer of light. And folks, with that kind of contradictory epilogue, that brings us to an end of, or to the end rather, of Final Fantasy. The Pixel Remastered version. So yeah, that was Final Fantasy 1. So I'm going to level with you guys. I'm actually recording this long after having recorded Final Fantasy 1, including the commentary for it, but something happened to the very last little bit. So, forgive me if my thoughts are a little bit disjointed from what they were at the end, like the actual end of the game, as the credits here roll. Final Fantasy 1 was my introduction to the Final Fantasy series, more specifically the NES release that we got. And I love Final Fantasy. Absolutely love it. And Final Fantasy 1 has a soft place in my heart, because, well, it kind of started all of it. It's funny, I don't remember at this particular moment if I brought up the story regarding, well, I say story, and that's really all that it can be, because I've gotten a lot of conflicting reports. Yeah, you know, people sending me reports. I've gotten a lot of conflicting information over the years as to whether or not this is true, but the way the story goes is that before Final Fantasy 1 on the NES, or the Famicom rather, was released, Squaresoft as a company was not doing so well, and, well, it was going to be their last hurrah, as it were, and their final fantasy, as it were. And it just so happened that it did really well, and so it saved the company from bankruptcy. Now, I don't know how true that is, because, like I said, I've gotten conflicting information regarding that, but at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters if it's true or not. It's a nice story. And yeah, Final Fantasy would go on to be one of the biggest RPG series out there. Final Fantasy 16 at the particular minute that I'm recording this, again, this is long after I recorded the game of Final Fantasy 1, just came out. And I have it. I haven't played it yet, but I have it. And yeah, there's a lot of Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy 1 is not without its problems, though. The encounter rate is a huge problem. Also, the monotony of things. And the fact that the difficulty's rather front-loaded is another problem. There's also the issue that bosses are just kind of there. With the exception, really, of the final boss and arguably the war mech. But I didn't actually encounter the war mech, because, yeah, no, I'm not going to sit there and wait until I get into a, what was it, 1 in 255 encounter, something like that. Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and wait for freaking ever just to encounter the closest thing to a super boss that the game had. But the real challenge of the game, the original release, I should say, was getting to the bosses. Not so much the actual bosses. And unfortunately, in the Pixel Remaster here, that's still kind of the case. The bosses are underwhelming, but because it's also a lot easier to get to said bosses, it just so happens that yeah, you're not going to have a very difficult time. But just like the original game, the hardest part is actually towards the beginning, which I find rather humorous myself. And yeah, I love Final Fantasy 1. It's got a soft place in my heart. I really don't think you need to go out of your way to play it, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I actually don't think the Pixel Remaster is the best version of it. I kept calling it the, I think 15th. I think I called it the 15th anniversary. Or no, I was calling it the 20th, I think, anniversary. I was calling it the wrong number throughout this playthrough, and I'm aware of that. It's actually the 15th anniversary version of Final Fantasy 1. I still think is the best version of it to this day. It's on the PSP, and it used to be on Steam and Android and iOS and all that, but it got delisted when these Pixel remasters were made, which is unfortunate. Because, yeah, I still think that's the best version of Final Fantasy 1. However, this is by far the most accessible version of it now, so this is the one I chose to do. As for the next Final Fantasy game, obviously it's going to be Final Fantasy 2, the Pixel Remastered edition. I don't know if that's going to be uploaded next or not, because Valkyrie Profile. Let's take a second and talk about that. Valkyrie Profile. Recently, well, I say recently, it got re-released. Valkyrie Profile Lenneth, the one that I'd been recording off of my PSP and was editing, it got re-released shortly after I uploaded whatever the last part was that I uploaded on the PS5. And my immediate thought was, fuck. Because I can record off of my PS5, no problem. And it's the exact same game, same way to play it, all that. It's just going to look and sound so much better. On top of that, since I've recorded what I have of Valkyrie Profile Lenneth off the PSP, a new Valkyrie Profile game came out, which dated all the commentary for the entirety of that playthrough immediately, which is unfortunate. But that's just how it goes. So that's on hold because I can't just pick up where I left off, only going through the PlayStation 5 release of it thereon, because there's some randomized factor. So I'm going to end up putting the PSP footage, I'm not going to delete it, I'm going to end up putting it into a discontinued playlist after I re-record basically the entire game off of the PS5, and it's just, yeah, all that jazz. So anyway, in the meantime, I decided I'm going to start working on the Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered games, which is why I recorded Final Fantasy 1 here. But I've gone on long enough. As for the next Final Fantasy game, I think I already mentioned, it's going to be Final Fantasy 2, the Pixel Remastered Edition. And so we're going to go ahead and transition probably right into that, actually. Either way, I love Final Fantasy 1. I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. I am Gene of RPG, and I'll see you guys next time.